try that as well. It's saying I need some permission from the host to record. Anyway, I think we should get started. Namas Sarvebhya. Thank you for taking the time to attend this open house for Agastya Gurukulam. This is the first one we are doing. And thank you for your interest in Agastya. I will be your host today. My name is Sri Balaji. I'm part of the board of Agastya Gurukulam, and I'm here to talk about the program and the reason for this program, and the teachers that are going to be involved in this program, and the benefits that our kids will gain from this program. So before I talk to you about the program, I'd like to talk about why Agastya and why Unmesa. And as part of that, rather than me telling you why, I'd like to quote the great poet Subramanya Bharati, who has talked about the Macaulay effect that we are all under today. And this poem, I've also translated it for those people who cannot understand Tamil. He clearly tells you how we as a culture, because of the English given education, have lost an understanding of our eminent scholars and their works, and how this is hurting us as an entire civilization. And his heart goes out at the end. He says, with what words can I elucidate the agony of my heart that goes out to those people who are part of this English education system that was created by Macaulay, that erased the original education system of India. So, and this is not just Subramanya Bharati who's talking about it. Sri Aurobindo, in his book on education, has also warned the common Indian that we are going to be failing ourselves and our children if we do not decolonize our education. And he says that we might just lose this forever with the soul of the nation that holds it in its keeping. So kind of tells you how Aurobindo and other scholars like Bharati have been very concerned about the education that's been given by the British as early as the early 20th century. We are over a century beyond Bharati's time and Aurobindo's time, and we still continue to teach ourselves and our kids based on the education given by the British. So Agastya Gurukulam is an effort to decolonize our education and help our kids become smarter, and at the same time have a sense of history and a sense of Indianness that they can build within themselves. What are the key issues of continuing this colonized education? We as a civilization have built a very mature, evolved education system that had several techniques of learning that built our memory, our focus and concentration at a level much better than what we can expect out of the current system of education that we are in. And we as a civilization have currently lost the system of education that can make our kids that much smarter. And we've lost that access to the knowledge that was present in the original, whether we're talking about learning about Ramayana or Mahabharata. Today, we are learning most of what's been written in translations in English or in our mother tongue today. And our kids today, especially of those who are living in the Americas or Europe, have lost their ability to even read and write or even speak our mother tongues. So the knowledge that even we had access to is currently being lost for our kids. Another interesting phenomenon that we've seen, I'm getting an echo right now. If you guys can mute, if you're on the call right now, please mute yourselves so that the echo can go away for everybody. Thank you for that. So most of our mathematics taught in India before the Macaulay's education came in. I think we're having some audio difficulties again. Hopefully it's gone now. Okay. So most of our education and mathematics was actually applied learning. So mathematics came about in India based on application in various fields, whether application in the field of navigating the seas or application in the field of accounting and so on and so forth. But when mathematics traveled from India to Arabia and then finally to Europe, it lost its applied form and became very theoretical. As a student of today's education system, we end up learning theoretical mathematics that does not apply to a lot of real world issues and real world problems. And this kind of does not help the kid who's learning mathematics to go through a original form of learning. It's more like learning from a photocopy or a Xerox rather than learning from the original. So that's another issue that we see in the education system that is present today. Similarly, the history that is taught, whether it's in India or in the US, does not cover the real story of an Indian civilization that's a winner in spite of we having been put on the back foot for the last 1,000 years, have continued to be victorious in hanging on to a civilization and the roots of it, in spite of all the different attacks that have happened against us. So this sense of history is very much lacking out of the learning of history that is currently being taught in schools in India and in the US. The poor knowledge of Indian languages, whether it's Sanskrit or mother tongues that we all have, is causing another layer of issue in us understanding the knowledge that's present in all these languages. And for us to actually continue the education and the research that is happening pre-Macaulay days, it's really important for us to come up to speed with the basics of understanding of language and understanding of Indian mathematics and science. And this gap in our understanding has essentially halted our indigenous research and innovation that is happening in India the pre-British time. All this has led to a lack of confidence among Indians, and the next generation, especially of the generation of kids who are of Indian origin growing up in the Americas or in Europe, have this huge issue of they getting mainstreamed into the American culture, and there is a conscious effort among kids, sometimes among parents as well, to put the kids through this mainstreaming. While being an American or being a Canadian does not really mean that they have to dress up, act, and eat and sleep like a common Canadian or American. They could actually wear their Indianness with a lot more confidence and be contributing to the society while being different. And all these key issues are the key reasons behind why we wanted to build a curriculum and a program that can help the next generation kind of find themselves and also be equipped with with a body of knowledge that can help them kind of get to the next level in terms of intellectual capacity and also in terms of self-confidence. So Unmesa is an immersive residential camp that we are conducting. It's a 25-day camp that we're conducting in Pondicherry this year. And this camp is around helping the kids gain the knowledge that I talked about through 5 different streams of education that are mentioned here. Number 1 is gaining knowledge in Sanskritam. Number 2 is gaining knowledge in Indian traditional mathematics. Number 3 is to build their knowledge in Indic knowledge systems, that is Indian science and technology. Number 4 is a right understanding of Indian history. And number 5, touring temples in and around Pondicherry and understanding or absorbing the marvel of the architecture of these temples. And along with that, understanding the architecture and the engineering behind these temples. So these are the 5 streams of learning that we are planning to do at the facilities of the Aurobindo Ashram, where the kids would be staying for a period of 25 days, taught by the best of the best teachers that we have handpicked for this program. Why Pondicherry? We believe that the kids who come to Agastya Gurukulam have to be exposed to the various streams of philosophy and sampradayas that we have in India, so that they have the ability to compare and contrast these sampradayas and philosophies when they are in India and kind of experience that in first hand. And Aurobindo is a great choice for us to begin with. We plan to do this in other locations in the coming years, so that these kids can get a good exposure to these sampradayas and the rishis and gurus behind them by staying and understanding these aspects of Indianness in great detail. This is a fully residential program, which includes classroom learning, field trips, games, group activities, projects, and yoga, and some interesting volunteering as well. Parents who are interested in staying along with the kids are welcome to do so, although their quarters would be at a different place than where the kids stay. We have very limited room for parents, so just in case you want to stay within the ashram, you will have to book now, then later. And those parents who book a little later might have to stay at a location outside the ashram that we can assign among one of the hotels right next to the ashram. Moving on, I'd like to quickly show you an introductory video for a couple of minutes about the program, the description of the program as given by our CEO of Agastya Gurukulam, Ms. Priyamadana.
Agastya's program goes beyond simply creating an awareness of Indian culture and heritage. It aims to build a deep understanding and expertise in subjects that were once part of the classical Indian intellectual framework and that continue to be relevant today. Our program of weekly classes will kick off with a month-long immersion program in India. For 1 month, students will make their home in Pondicherry, which is a cosmopolitan town with deep cultural and spiritual roots, where they will live, learn, and serve in a safe and nurturing environment. Students will learn Sanskrit, Indian mathematics and science, architecture and history from globally renowned teachers. They will immerse themselves in various classical and traditional arts of India. They will visit sites of cultural and historical importance and also get involved with ongoing projects to see in practice what they learn in the classroom. So they will deepen their knowledge of India, discover new interests, and build lifelong friendships. In short, they're going to have a wonderful summer.
The seaside town of Pondicherry is home to the world-famous Sri Aurobindo Ashram in Auroville, an ideal township that includes within itself a green zone with organic farms, dairies, wildlife habitats, and soil and water conservation projects.
So as I continue, a quick word about questions. I'm sure you guys have a bunch of questions. While I'm speaking, if you have questions, please text your questions to us through the chat window, and we will answer them one by one at the end of this open house. So now, let's talk about the world-renowned teachers that Priyamada ji just mentioned in her talk. And we are really honored to have the best of the best teachers, as I said before, accept to come in and teach our kids during these 25 days of workshop. And I'd like to quickly go over the top teachers here. These are not the only teachers that will be teaching. There are a few more that I'll mention at the end. Dr. Sampadananda Mishra, some of you might already know, as he's really renowned and very popular on YouTube and Twitter and so on. Is the director of Sri Aurobindo Foundation for Indian Culture, along with whom we are actually doing this event this year. Safik, for whom Sampadananda Mishra is the director, is a really quality organization with really good facilities for kids to learn and also board and lodge. There are some pictures on our website and also on our YouTube video that you can look at for you to kind of get an understanding of the quality of the living quarters and the classrooms. Dr. Sampadananda Mishra is an author of several books, including The Wonder That Is Sanskrit, that some of you may have actually read. Is a very renowned scholar and deep, knowledgeable Sanskritist who has not only looked at Sanskrit as a language, but an instrument to build greater sense, greater ability to learning and also spiritual quest. So he's going to be teaching the Sanskrit stream at the event. Dr. Chitra Madhavan, once again, a very renowned scholar in temple architecture or Shilpa Shastra, is a Chennai-based scholar who lectures at various institutions in India and abroad, and is also an author of several books around temple architecture. You can learn more about her by looking her up on YouTube, and there are several videos that will kind of help you understand the quality of learning that your kids will go through under her. Professor K. Ramasubramaniam, who does not need a long intro, as you guys might already know, is a professor at IIT Bombay, and is maybe the very best, or one among the very best mathematicians that exist today, who has a deep knowledge in Indian mathematics. He's got scholarship in various Indian mathematics works, like the work of Leelavati by Bhaskara, or the work of Varahamihira, or Brahmagupta, and Aryabhatta, and so on. And he would be helping the kids understand the basics of Indian mathematics, and also deal with some of those aspects of the authors that I just mentioned from our scriptures. And we have other interesting personalities who would also be helping us with the teaching. One of them I'd like to mention is Dr. Ananda Balayogi Bhavnani for classical dance, and Anuja Kamath for Indian classical music. And they're also going to be present at the workshop to teach our kids. So I truly believe that this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for your kids to be part of this wonderful workshop. And I would not want my kid to miss it, and I would not want your kid to miss it either. And we have some very interesting follow-on coursework that will continue beyond this specific event that we're conducting in Pondicherry this year. We will announce about the coursework that will continue throughout the academic year, and which will culminate in another workshop at the end of year one for those kids that have attended this starter workshop this year. So I would urge you to pre-register your kids today. And I would also like to take this opportunity to surprise you guys with this discount offer that we have for those who want to sign up for this program within the next 48 hours. We have a $150 discount for the program for those whose kids are going to be signed up in the next couple of days. So please pass the word along to your friends and family, and please urge all your friends and family to sign up their kids for this very interesting program. I'd like to switch to questions now. Let's see the list of questions we have.
Balaji Mahadev, this is Shankar. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. First of all, thank you so much for doing this. I think, like you said, it's going to be a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for all of our kids. So thank you for that. And the questions that I've had are, what, how do we go about arranging for accommodation for accompanying adults or kids that are not participating in this program?
Adults whose kids are not participating in the program?
No. Adults and other kids that are not participating in this program that are accompanying.
Got it. I understand. So yeah, so the kids who are participating in the program would be accommodated in the ashram itself. We have some ashram rooms already booked for the kids. For the adults and the kids who are not participating, there are limited set of rooms available in the ashram itself currently, but these are only limited to a certain number, which I do not have handy right now. But just in case there are more parents and kids who want to stay who are not participating in the program, the ashram has already agreed to pre-book certain rooms in hotels nearby. So you would be able to stay in those hotels just in case you don't get accommodation in the ashram.
Got it. Okay.
Okay.
And then one other question is like, do you know when or if there will be a schedule published, like, you know, which towns and cities they will be visiting, you know, as part of the program?
Sure. We are almost done with that schedule. You should see that in the next few days. But given that we are all here, I can tell you that we are thinking of 4 different trips and 4 different places. Trip number 1 would be to Mahabalipuram. And of course, Mahabalipuram we have chosen because of the fact that it has temples that cover the 3 main types of architecture that you could see in there. One is the Pallava architecture, then Chola architecture, and the Pandya architecture. All 3 main architectures of Tamil Nadu can be seen just in Mahabalipuram. Then we are also choosing the temple town of Uttaramerur, which has a very interesting Shila Shasanam or an epigraphy around democracy that existed back in the Chola times for local governance. So it will be a very interesting thing for the kids to learn about local governance and the quality of candidates that participated in elections those days. And you know, everybody who attends that would be pleasantly surprised about like the quality of candidates was of course much better than the candidates that we are currently seeing in our elections in India or even elsewhere. So we want to go to Uttaramerur, and then the third place that we are thinking of is Gangaikonda Cholapuram, and this is the temple of Rajendra Chola, the temple built by Rajendra Chola for Lord Shiva, and it's an architectural marvel. You can read about it on the internet. So that's the third place we want to go. The fourth place is, of course, Pondicherry and in and around Pondicherry, visiting places like Auroville and so on. So these are the 4 different trips that we have planned currently. This is not finalized yet. It is subject to a few changes, but currently this is kind of what we are thinking.
Got it. Thank you, Madhu.
Srivarya, there's a couple of questions on the chat group, and a quick also clarification on the trips. So these will be day trips to the temple, so that people will be back in the ashram by evening. So 2 questions. One is there are different age groups of kids participating. Will the subjects taught be understood by all? This is a question from Shiva Varadarajan. If you can answer that, please.
So yeah, I'm looking at. Sorry. Yeah, there are different age groups. So regarding the age groups, we are currently thinking that we would have 1 class for all kids between age group of 13 and 18. Although this is a wide range, we kind of thought, given that all those kids in there would be teenagers, they would have the ability to understand what's being taught. There are certain aspects of teaching. For instance, if Professor Ramasubramaniam started teaching calculus or something to do with a certain aspect of mathematics that's not covered in schools at the age of, or is covered in middle school, we might have an issue with that. But we will work with Professor Ramasubramaniam to figure out the content of the coursework that he's going to be covering, which is not finalized yet, so that it is common to this age group.
Okay. Next question. Since the dates of the camp partially conflict with the Texas school calendar, would you allow participation in part of the program? Would you prorate the fee? And actually, yeah, please, if you can answer that.
Yes, definitely we would prorate the fee just in case you have a genuine constraint like you having to leave early because school reopens early. And we understand the Texas school issue, and we learned about it very, very late. So it's very hard for us to go back and change the dates now. But in the future, when you do these camps, we will make sure that we do not have conflicts like this creeping up the next year.
One more question. So thank you for the surprise discount of $150. Is that in addition to the $100 early bird discount that you still have going on? So is it altogether $250 discount? Can you clarify that?
Mithalji, that will be your question. If you can answer that, that will be helpful.
Yes. Yeah. So to be clear, yes, $250 is additive. So altogether, right now, for people who are willing to sign up in the next 48 hours, the program cost will be only $1,250 altogether. That's all in.
But they have to pay that as tuition fee.
Yeah, but they'll have to pay an initial non-refundable deposit of $250, and that's active on the website.
And this initial non-deposit it's a non-refundable deposit registration fee is already open on the website. It was not open until yesterday. Now it's open. So those parents who are interested to avail this $50 discount, please register your kids within the next 48 hours.
Okay. Next question. Can parents who choose to come also go on the field trips or attend some of the lectures with the kids?
So the short answer to that is no. Definitely not for the classroom environment. We would like for the kids to have a good open conversation with the teachers, although it may be very interesting for parents to also sit through those classes. As you know, a lot of us do not have the exposure to this kind of knowledge that's shared by these great scholars, and we would like for it to be available for kids only. Regarding the field trips, the current plan is once again to keep it to kids. If Dr. Chitra Madhavan decides to relax this, we will have her make that call, and then we can decide at the time. But for now, all is closed to parents. However, the parents can be accommodated in multiple programs that happen at the ashram, as the ashram is willing to take the parents onto their roles for yoga classes that happen and other lectures that happen. So you are free to sign up for those programs at the ashram, which is not related to the Agastya program.
Next question. Is the recording of the webinar available? The short answer is yes, we are recording the webinar and we'll be uploading that on YouTube. Next question is, does the cost include the parents' accommodation? So the answer is no. So the course fee essentially includes everything for the student who is attending. So for the kid, that includes accommodation, meals, everything for 25 days, cost of field trips, but it does not include anything for accompanying parents. That will be separate.
So the cost would include, like Mithalji said, the cost of accommodation, the cost of boarding, the classroom costs, and of course the tuition that is covering the cost of the teachers who end up showing up and teaching. And also for any material that we will provide a bunch of material to the kids. This will also cover the material cost that we will hand out as well. We may have some interesting projects that they may do, like making a video documentary, or creating some paintings and so on, depending on what they are interested in. As we will have some free creative time that we would give the kids, and also give some guidance for such creative time. And there would be some costs incurred around that as well, and that will also be covered within the program cost. So it's a very nominal fee, and in fact, by discounting, we may have to put some donation dollars to cover, but we are really expecting a good batch to show up this first year, and it's really important for us to also please the teachers who show up with some good quality kids, so that they keep coming back to us in the future years as well. So we are trying our best to ensure that we got the best batch of students showing up in year one.
Okay.
Sure, Yaji.
What are the medical?
Next question. 1 second. What are
Praveen here when it's my turn.
What's that?
Praveen, can I go ahead?
1 second, Praveen.
You can just type in your question.
If you type in your question, I'll read that loud.
Okay.
In turn. Okay. So next question is, what are the medical facilities or arrangements in case of situations such as allergies or asthma?
That's a good question. There are resident doctors who are really qualified within the ashram premises. And Pondicherry is a pretty well-developed city. So you would be able to get the best medical facilities that are available in India from Pondicherry, including the presence of Jipmer that you guys might know, which is one of the top hospitals in India.
Next question is there any plan of recording the classes? Would be great if these could be made available for kids who need to leave camp early.
Probably have to check with.
Yeah, we'll check on that. I think we are also interested in doing some recording as to if the whole classes could be recorded. Is something that we need to check with the teachers.
Okay, next. Can you accommodate vegan kids? I think there's something we need to check with the ashram, because we'll be, it's the ashram, the guest house where they're staying, that's taking care of the meals. We can check with them and get back to you.
But this should not be difficult, knowing that most of Indian food is vegan. But for some where you would have milk or ghee, mixed in it, so we can definitely accommodate for it. We've not actually thought about this so far, but I'm sure the ashram would be happy to accommodate.
Okay.
There was somebody who wanted to ask.
Praveenji, now what's your question?
Praveenji's already typed in.
Okay.
I'm very slow in typing, my apology, but if you allow me to speak, I have two things.
Go ahead.
I have two things. Number one is as maybe a suggestion that if you are planning a visit to Matri Mandir, if that is allowed, then we should work on it in advance. Matri Mandir in Auroville. That is number one. That's a suggestion you for like just a thought. And second thing is we are considering for Takshil to join this program. And the question is that I am also considering to be there as a parent volunteer and be there. So in that case, what would be the fees applicable for the parent who is there? I would be fully available to do any voluntary support activities. And so what would be the fees like for the volunteering parent? That's it.
So Praveenji, there is no special fee for volunteering parents, right? So you can definitely join the group of volunteers. As you know, we're happy to take as many volunteers from parents to help with these programs. As you know, we have various activities that we have planned. Like I said, the activities around creative expressions, the activities on volunteering for kids. We're thinking some of the volunteering for kids could be to help out at the kitchen or do some gardening and stuff like that while they are staying there for the 25 days. And we would like for parents to help us with volunteering on each one of these activities, so that these kids are doing this under some adult supervision. So it will be good if you would like to sign up for one of these activities. We'll put out the list of activities that we are looking for volunteers, maybe in a few weeks' time, and then you can sign up for one of these. There is no cost to volunteer. Of course, there is a cost to stay at the ashram or at the hotel, depending on where you get your accommodation.
Okay, so we should, like for now, in the ballpark, we should consider the same amount of the cost for the parent going along, same cost as say cost for the kid, right?
No, it will be lower, especially if you stay in the ashram. It may be just couple of thousand rupees a day or a little bit more or a little bit less, right? So that's all you need to account for, as the rest of it goes to the tuition fee, the materials that we are going to provide to kids, the trips that we are going to make. All that need not be counted against the cost that parents would incur while they are there.
Okay, and we can work on that detail like through emails with you, like whether I should be setting up my accommodation on my own in Auroville or near near the Sri Aurobindo Society premises, or that we can work out later, right?
Yes, if you are registering now and if you mention that you require accommodation, you will get accommodation at the ashram itself, which would be maybe a tad bit cheaper than staying at the hotel.
Right, yeah. But right now the registering mechanism is only for the child. Is there a separate category of registration for parent?
No, for parents, we are not taking direct registrations, but you can mention that there is a free text box that you can type in saying that I'm interested in staying as well. If you could mention that, we can get in touch with you and put you in touch with the ashram people.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you. And on the Matri Mandir, what I said, if that has any importance, please consider that.
Yes, thank you for pointing that out. When I said we will be doing the Pondicherry visit, it includes a visit to Matri Mandir. It includes a visit to the Samadhi of Sri Aurobindo and the Mother, and some temples within the city. So the Matri Mandir is definitely part of our list of destinations for the field trip.
Okay.
And we do understand that Matri Mandir visits have to be pre-booked, and we will take care of that.
Thank you.
Next question. How many teachers or mentors are going to be overseeing the kids? Will they be accompanying the kids on field trips, etc., staying in the guest house with the kids?
Yes, there are going to be multiple. First of all, there are going to be multiple teachers, as you already know. And at the guest house, apart from the teachers and volunteers like myself and Mittalji and others staying, we are also going to have a dedicated person for the boys and a dedicated female attendant for the girls. So that we can actually help the girls be safe and also attend to any issues that they may have, and the same with boys as well. So we're going to have we've already taken into account that we are going to be dealing with kids who are all our assets of all our families. So we want to be extremely sensitive to how we take care of them and ensure that they are well accommodated and are also taken care of well, which includes their security and privacy and so on and so forth.
Okay. Next question. Who would be overseeing the dietary needs and how can we communicate with them? If you can just drop us an email, info@agastyagurukulam.org, we can have that discussion with you offline and coordinate with the ashram. So yeah, just drop us an email. Next one, online website says registration details. Should we mention students detail or parents on initial page? It would be helpful if it's called out explicitly. I think the answer is we want students details, but
no. Registration is basically when you're creating an account for yourself, it has to be an adult over the age of 18. So that's why we want parent information. But when you pre-register a child for the course, then we have a drop down where you can select number of students who are registering for the program, and there you have to specify the student information.
Yeah, that's all the questions we have in the chat box.
I have one more announcement to make before we wrap up. This is not the only event that we're going to have to kind of help you guys understand about the course. During the next couple of weeks, we are going to have each one of these teachers that you saw, whether it's Professor Ramasubramaniam or Dr. Sampadananda Mishra or Chitra Madhavan and others who will be teaching. We are going to have each one of them come in and talk to this group of parents so that you can ask them questions about what they will be teaching as well. So these may be shorter than this specific initial orientation that we are giving you today, as this is kind of an overview presentation. And the next presentations would be only for 30 minutes, maybe 15 minutes of the teacher talking and another 15 minutes of questions. We want to be pretty respectful of their time. So we'll only book them for about 30 minutes to come in and present. But, we want to give you guys an opportunity to understand what is going to be taught at these classes. So please do join those open houses as well, so that you guys get a good, deep understanding of where you're sending your kids and what are they going to learn. I believe that that by itself will convince you and help you make the decision of you sending your kids over, and also kind of feel good about the fact that your kids are going to learn something that's really different and deep, that'll make them better students, better Indians, and better citizens of whatever country they live in. So with that, I think we can wrap up. If you still have more questions, please feel free to email us at info@agastyagurukulam.org. Thank you for taking the time today, and look forward to seeing you all and your kids at